All right, we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Able Today. I'm Mark, joined by my counterpart, Sarah. Thrilled to bring you another episode to talk about partnerships today, specifically partnerships connecting able programs and an agency that's doing great work. But before we get into that, Sarah, you've been doing this work for over a decade. Just talk to us a little bit about the need for partnerships between able programs and nonprofit organizations and agencies.
We talk about it all the time, Mark. We need to look for opportunities to scale Able. Able's a new tool in the toolbox. While we've had Able accounts, the first state, as we've talked about a lot, opened the first account in June of 2016. But again, these are new tools. And so if people aren't finding out about Able accounts from their disability organization, whether that's a national one, a state, or a local, they need to look and find this information through other points of entry. And I'm really pumped about today's episode because it does just that.
Love it. Well, why don't you tell everybody who we are interviewing and what we're going to be talking about a little bit more?
I would be honored. So, we're traveling to the West Coast for today's episode. We have Kari Sample, and Kari's joining us from the Washington State's Department of Commerce, who oversees the Washington State ABLE program,
Love it.
which is incredibly exciting. She's been there. I had the chance to meet her last summer in Portland at our NAS conference. She serves as the Disabilities Workgroup program supervisor. And again, congrats to her on celebrating her almost 1 year anniversary of being part of the ABLE family. And because of this unique partnership, she's joined by our new friend, and you're going to tap Lorena on the speaking circuit, Lorena Jones, who's a senior benefits program manager for Sound Transit, which is officially known as the Central Puget Sound Regional Transit Authority. That is, Mark, a mouthful. And you know something about transit systems, don't you?
I do. I know that Sound Transit is the model, right? Like, and I say that to mean Sound Transit in Washington is typically the most innovative transit agency in our country. They try things and see what works and
Yeah.
stick with it, honestly. And this is a great example of something that I think they've tried that we can implement now nationwide as a model for a relationship between transit agencies and able programs to promote diversity and inclusion in a way that gets disabled people job opportunities. So, yeah, thrilled is an understatement to what I'm feeling about having this conversation and being able to spread this information around the country.
Well, you and Lorena are going to be best friends. I already know it. So should we bring them on?
Yeah, let's get to it. All right, everybody. We got Kari and Lorena on the show today. Really excited to jump right in. Kari, you've been with the Washington ABLE program. Please tell us a little bit more about what you do.
All right. So I work for the Washington State Department of Commerce, and I am the ABLE program manager supervisor. I have a list of programs that I oversee, and so this is one of them. So the ABLE program, I just joined the program last April, and so I've been quickly learning about all the great things that the program helps with in the disability community, and it's been super exciting. It's a lot of information that I haven't known before, and so that's one of the challenges of getting all the aspects of the disability community and making sure that we're able to provide whatever answers or information is needed out there in the community. The Washington State ABLE program, it launched in July of 2018. We are currently about 4,500 account holders with consistent enrollment over the last couple of years of about 230 per quarter accounts. So, we're consistently going up the ladder there with how many people we're reaching out across Washington State. So some of our outreach efforts currently, we have our website, we have some social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, where we're providing some videos on how to join the ABLE program and different informational things there. We've also have attended quite a few transition fairs throughout the previous years, and then also are rescheduling those transition fairs so that we're a constant at each of those. We take presentation inquiries as well for the program. So anytime somebody reaches out and says, hey, we're doing a lunch and learn, can you guys come and present? We're always happy to do that. And it's a great networking for us too, because it's providers helping the disability community with their financial needs and in helping us spread the word about the ABLE program. So one of my favorite things about the program is going out on the road and speaking to people about their financial needs and helping answer any of the questions. So when we're at the transition fairs, it's really exciting to see all the people going through. You have your flyers and your brochures, but they're excited to see what you have at your table, and then they're asking questions, and some of them are like, we didn't know about the ABLE program. This would have helped us a long time ago. So it's really exciting to give that information out to the community. So
Kari, that's amazing. Mark and I have talked to a couple of our ABLE program directors and disability leaders from across the country since we launched this podcast. I guess, Mark, almost 2 months ago, 4,500 accounts in a short period of time is absolutely incredible. Those are some very solid results. And it sounds like more and more people in Washington State, individuals with disabilities, family members, caregivers are signing up for ABLE accounts. And we know you're new-ish. We can't call you new anymore. You're about ready to hit your 1-year anniversary. You're not one to rest on your laurels, and you've been working to expand your office's efforts since you started to promote the ABLE program. Talk to us about that. What is that out of the box thinking look like, and how can other programs maybe learn and benefit from what you've developed?
Yeah, well, luckily we do have, a national partnership with other state agencies that are offering ABLE accounts. And so those participants come together and they talk about all the challenges of the program. They talk about best practices and how their program is marketing and outreach and all of that, and providing, a wealth of information out there for us to collaborate together and try to figure out, hey, what's working best for your state and what's working best for your state, so that really helps. One of the things that we've been thinking about recently is partnering with other state agencies that have similar programs that could be in comparison to the ABLE program. And so one of those agencies is the GET program, and it's the 529 College Savings Program. They have a similar platform where they're trying to, have people participate in their program and save for college. So this is a little bit different in the disability community, is that you're just saving money for your, your better life experiences, right? So reaching out to them and seeing what they've done as far as gathering, stakeholders, ideas, resources has been a huge help for us to kind of wrap our brain around, here, maybe we could partner with you, or maybe we can give you some of our brochures and you can hand them out when you're out and about. And then we can take some of your brochures and hand them out. So we're like collaborating together, right? And then also coming together and, with their schedule of webinars and stuff, and seeing where we can partner in that work as well. Because, one parent might have 2 kids, one may be going to college and one might be,
Well, speaking of partnerships, Lorena, tell us what you do with Sound Transit and about the partnership with Washington ABLE.
So this first came to me excuse me, this information from my previous director who has since retired. Awesome for her. I'm not sure like who it was that she initially talked to, but she sent it to my way and say, hey, is this something you might be interested in going, for the future? And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I like this. I really like this because, I'm in benefits, primarily, it's part of HR, but really what I do is benefits, leaves of absence. So I deal a lot with the medical needs or, of our employees or or their families, even because it's not always them that need the service or the time off for themselves. So it kind of fell into that area of being able to help people. And I personally, from my job, knew that we had 3 people that had disabled children. And at first it came up as like, well, we only have 3. I'm like, well, we only have 3 that are on insurance that we know of. That doesn't mean anything. And actually, when we did the webinar for our employees, we actually had like 30 people attend, which we were surprised because like, oh, I mean, it's of interest, not just for themselves, but maybe they have other family members, maybe not even, their own children, but maybe their nephews or nieces or brothers or sisters. So there was quite a bit of interest. And some people were actually saying, well, as an employee, I could probably qualify for ABLE myself because I do have some disabilities. So they were going to look into that. So it was pleasantly surprising to know that people were interested and that the people that need it obviously can get the help. My area that I always say where I feel the best having a good day is when I feel like I've helped someone. So, as much as leaves of absence take up a lot of my time, those are the most rewarding parts of my job. So ABLE falls really well into that. It was exciting for us when we started the journey to find out that we were the first government agency per se. So I was like, oh, that's really good. Like I really, Sound Transit, right? We want to do everything first. So that was like even more perfect. But it really falls into our values, part of, we have, collaboration, obviously, things like that. But one of their big ones is obviously inclusion and respect. And inclusion, should include people with disabilities. We do hire people with disabilities, so, that doesn't mean that this is their only income. And it's nice to know that they have this available to them because, again, to Kari's point is they may not be able to go to college. Sometimes you can, but it depends on your disability and your goals, as well, that there is something else to help them financially. And that to me was huge.
And Lorena, what our audience didn't see before we kicked off this episode is Mark. Mark, can I say this? You're fan guying out here over Sound Transit and just what a model it's been. But as you know, in your role, so many individuals that you support, they're an inch deep and a mile wide. Individuals with disabilities, their family members, caregivers. So talk to us about how you're promoting ABLE beyond presentations, because I think really it could be a model for other employers, whether you're in the government sector, the private sector. And we talk a lot about reaching employers and organizations across state lines, because that's another unique aspect of ABLE.
And one of the things too, from an employer standpoint, especially, depending on budgets and all that, this doesn't affect the budget. So it's like, it wasn't like we had to sell it from the budget standpoint, which is always, the sticking point, right? The service was great, but it's like, how much is it going to cost us? Well, it doesn't really cost you anything. But like this for us at Sound Transit, we do we're growing, we're expanding into other communities. And part of the expansion is, looking into making sure that it's accessible for people with disabilities, to use the service, but this goes beyond that, so I think, I got confused on the question for a second. Can you repeat it?
No, just how you're doing. I think.
Oh, how we're promoting it. Yes.
Yeah, promotion, outreach.
Yeah.
What efforts are Sound Transit really taking to externally communicate this initiative?
So, well, internally we have employee resource groups. So one of those is called, it used to be the Disabilities, hyphenated, but now it's just the abilities. So that's, it's not just for people with disabilities, but anybody, of the employees can join, and they have monthly meetings and what's new and topics. And sometimes I get invited to those. Sometimes, I am technically part of that. It's just I can't always attend. So I do give them information, to share We promote it with all our new hires as part of their benefits package conversation. And then we also have obviously our intranet where we have documentation, and we have a newsletter, and we're working with our communications team. In 2024, our goal is to get more communication out there. So every month we're going to have a new topic, which hasn't been the case before. So of course, one month it'll be, able, one month it'll be other benefits, that people don't seem to understand until they need them, kind of thing. As far as the community, we're kind of working on that. So when we heard about this, they're like, I checked with our government people and our communications people. It's like, am I allowed to do this? Because, it's a government agency. And I'm representing the agency. And they're like, oh, absolutely. I think this is a great way to get it out there, because we haven't promoted externally. But it's something that we're definitely going to want to do. Because, before we're not the only one, we can't say we're the only government agency if there's 5 of them by the time we get it out there. So hopefully this will help us and kind of get pushing forward.
You're
You're
leading the
giving me
way.
all the ideas.
I always have ideas.
Yeah, and then to give everyone reference, so I am the chairman for the Board of Commissioners of the Regional Transit Authority in New Orleans. And I was saying to Lorena before we started recording how Sound Transit is really a model, and they take a lot of chances to see what solutions will work for problems. And we learn from that. Seattle is a much more transit-oriented city, and you've leveraged transit-oriented development in a very intentional way and expanded in ways that a lot of agencies, use what you have done as the case study to what we can do.
Right, that it can happen.
And this is just another space, right? What comes to mind is the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. How it has now, you're seeing a lot more intentionality in including people with disabilities in the workforce, and organizations, agencies, really taking that initiative and having ABLE as a tool in the toolkit to communicate to individuals who would be interested and could qualify, like only helps that person, right? It improves the quality of life of an individual if they have more financial stability and feel more included with these opportunities without having to lose benefits. So it's incredible to see another example of Sound Transit taking the initiative.
It was a great initiative, and there was really kind of no reason not to, honestly. It was just a matter of like, okay, what do we need to do? How do we get it out there, and how quickly can we get it in? So we were pretty struck. I was pushing pretty hard to, like, everything else was going on. I'm like, yes, but able. And finance was like, what does this mean? I'm like, it doesn't mean anything to you. Like, nothing. You don't have to do a thing.
Meanwhile, Kari's over here like jumping up and down because now she's got solid partners who are helping to promote it and bring people into the program. It works.
It works.
When it also, I mean, just as as an employer, obviously, but as a working with our community, we always want to work with the community and be there for our communities. And this is just another way to say we really are, like, we have your back, essentially, like, not just as an employer, but also if, it could even help us in our, hiring people, because, it's not that easy, finding people that say, hey, it's not per se a benefit, but it's something that we have, and just to show that we really are that invested in the inclusion part of the, it's not just talking about it or saying it, we're actually doing things about it, which I think is great.
Right. And Kari, to that point, how has that partnership, how has it impacted Washington ABLE, and also how are you using it as a model for other partnerships?
Yeah, just from the initial start of the communication package and how we came in and helped with some of the resources that were needed to provide to the employees, and on their intranet, and how they're providing their information. I've just kind of taken note of how that was all executed. As Lorena said, she was the initiator. We didn't even initiate it. So we already had a thinking partner out there for us, so now we just need to go out and touch a lot more of those, whether it be government agency or private nonprofit, there's a lot that we can reach out and give that information to, whether it be just the flyer. If they're just giving the flyer during their onboarding process and have it posted somewhere, I mean, that's huge already in itself. It works for itself, I would say too. So
Well,
Mm.
in Mark, as we know, working across the country with all the national ABLE programs, our ABLE programs have small teams leveraging small marketing budgets. So, Kari, to have such a willing partner help spread the word is absolutely incredible. And not to mention that, one of the overarching disability qualified expenses of an ABLE account is transportation. And we all know transportation moves people. So, Mark, question for you, because I know you're dying to jump in
Ooh,
here.
I love that.
What are your thoughts, about this from your perspective as somebody who's very familiar with public transportation for people with disabilities? How do we take this model and nationalize it?
Well, I think it's just that, right? Like now, immediately from the leadership perspective, I'm thinking about connecting our Louisiana State ABLE program with officials at RTA to have this very same conversation, right? There's a model that exists, and now I have two people that I can point at to say, "Hey, this is how this works. Why don't you get
Mhm.
some advice?" Right? These are easy solutions to implement, and so it's literally doing that and multiplying it by 44 more people or 44 more programs.
The multiplier effect.
I like to
Okay,
keep things simple in my solutions.
you're just a simple man from New Orleans.
That's it.
Okay, last question for both of you. We like to ask every guest this. Tell us, and Lorena, let's start with you. What's the best thing about ABLE accounts?
The best thing about able accounts is knowing that it can make a difference in someone's life. From basic needs to actually, something simple as just taking a weekend and going somewhere that maybe wouldn't facilitate it before. So for me, I'm just very passionate about people getting what they need, and I don't know where it comes from, honestly. It's just so I think I'm in the right place for my job, but I just have this innate need to want to make sure people are taken care of. And I think, especially with disabilities, and of course the ranges of disabilities can be, different.
Yeah.
And then most recently, I have a grandson who was diagnosed with autism, so we don't know what that holds for him. So it's like this would be something that would work for him, and that came after the fact. So it's just like, oh wow, and I get to see the impact a little closer. But even if not, I think for me personally, I just think helping people wherever you can, is a good thing, and I'm in a position to do that. That's awesome.
All right,
Got it.
Kari, take us home.
all right. Yeah, just in general, like I've been in state service for about 17 years, and that's my passion, is just helping the public and helping communities really thrive in their environments, finding resources for them to help with their daily lives, living one day, each day. So yeah, that's one thing that just really makes my heart thump, is just being able to help people in general, and going out and outreach, taking calls, that type of thing, and just being able to answer questions for people, and just knowing that they're going to have a better experience and somebody that's actually on the other line of the phone. So yeah, that's what's passion for me.
Well, I say this all the time. Anybody's life can change in a split second, and everybody knows somebody that is impacted by disability or has a disability.
Mhm.
So, having these types of tools impacts way more people than we ever think about until we start to think about it. Which is why Sarah and I do this work and we love it. So
So true. So true. Well, this has been a fantastic episode, Mark. I love highlighting unique partnerships that are getting the word out about ABLE accounts and meeting individuals where they are, whether that's at an employer, a transit authority, or in state government. This has been incredible.
exactly. So Kari, Lorena, thank you so much for participating in this episode of Able Today and sharing some information about Washington and the initiatives that you have. It's been great. And to everybody watching this, please stay tuned for the next episode of Able Today. Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
you.